Karen's voice could curdle milk. I'm not sitting next to that, she sneered, her triple chin wobbling as she jabbed a sausage-like finger toward the black man in 14B. The airplane cabin, already humming with pre-flight nerves, froze. Every head turned, eyes wide, as Karen, a mountain of entitlement in a garish floral muumuu, stood defiantly in the aisle, her sister Darlene equally hefty, equally venomous, egging her on with a smug nod. The man in 14B, Marcus, didn't flinch. He adjusted his glasses, his face a mask of calm, though his eyes glinted with the kind of quiet strength that comes from enduring too many Karens. He'd boarded early, stowed his carry-on, and settled in with a book Invisible Man, ironically expecting a peaceful flight from Atlanta to Chicago. Karen and Darlene, the self-proclaimed HOA Karen sisters who ruled their suburban cul-de-sac with iron fists and noise complaints, had other plans. It started when Karen waddled to her seat, 14A, and saw Marcus. Her face twisted like she'd smelled rotten eggs. "No way," she muttered, loud enough for half the plane to hear. "I paid for comfort, not this." Darlene, in 14C, chimed in, "You tell him, sis. We don't have to put up with this." Their voices, shrill and synchronized, were a weapon honed from years of berating neighbors over unmowed lawns and suspicious delivery drivers. Marcus raised an eyebrow, his voice low but steady. "Ma'am, I'm just trying to get to Chicago. Sit down, and we'll all be fine." His words were polite, but they carried an edge, a warning that he wasn't here for nonsense. Karen's eyes bulged. "Don't you ma'am me," she snapped, her voice climbing to a screech. "I know my rights. I'm not sitting next to you people." The word "you" dripped with venom, and the cabin gasped collectively. A teenager in the back whispered, "Oh, she did not just say that." The flight attendant, a wiry man named Javier with a no-nonsense demeanor, appeared like a referee in a boxing ring. "Ma'am, please take your seat," he said, his tone firm but measured. Karen spun on him, her bulk nearly knocking over a tray of complimentary pretzels. "Don't you start. I'm a platinum member. I deserve respect." Darlene, fanning herself with a crumpled in-flight magazine, added, "We're not sitting here. Move him." She pointed at Marcus like he was a stain on her pristine HOA-approved mailbox. Marcus leaned back, arms crossed, his book still open on his lap. "I'm not moving," he said, his voice cutting through the sisters' histrionics. "I paid for this seat, same as you." The simplicity of his statement, the unyielding truth of it, made Karen's face turn a deeper shade of red. She opened her mouth to unleash another tirade, but Javier raised a hand. "Ma'am, if you don't sit down, we'll have to remove you from the flight." The threat only fueled Karen's fire. "Remove me? Do you know who I am? I'm on the HOA board. I've got 2,000 Instagram followers." She pulled out her phone, waving it like a scepter, and started filming. "This is going viral. Discrimination against us. Look at this man refusing to move." Darlene, ever the loyal sidekick, nodded vigorously, her chins jiggling in agreement. The other passengers, now openly recording, weren't buying it. A woman in a business suit muttered, "She's the one discriminating, idiot." Marcus, still unshaken, turned a page in his book. "You're embarrassing yourself," he said, almost to himself, but loud enough for Karen to hear. That did it. She lunged forward, her bulk swaying dangerously, and screamed, "You don't belong here. Go back to where you came from." The words landed like a bomb. The cabin went silent, save for the hum of the engines. Even Darlene looked momentarily stunned, as if realizing they'd crossed a line. Javier's face hardened. He pressed a button on his headset, speaking quietly but urgently. "We've got a situation in economy." Within minutes, a second flight attendant, a woman named Priya with a steely gaze, joined him. "Ladies," Priya said, addressing the sisters, "you need to calm down and sit, or you're off this plane." Karen laughed, a grating, hyena-like sound. "You can't do that. I'll sue. I'll have your jobs." Darlene, emboldened, added, "Yeah, we know lawyers." The other passengers were done. A young man in a hoodie stood up. "Sit down or get out, lady. We're all trying to get home." A chorus of agreement erupted, claps, shouts, even a preach from the back. Karen, undeterred, kept filming, narrating her victimhood to her imaginary audience. See? They're all against us. This is America. Marcus, finally closing his book, looked at her with something like pity. Lady, America's tired of people like you. The standoff reached its peak when the captain's voice crackled over the intercom. This is your captain. Due to a disruption, we're returning to the gate. Authorities have been notified. Karen's smugness faltered, but she doubled down, shouting, Good. Let's see who they arrest. Darlene, less certain now, tugged at her sister's sleeve. Karen, maybe we should, but Karen yanked her arm away. No, we're in the right. The plane rolled back to the gate, and 2 police officers boarded, their badges glinting under the cabin lights. The passengers erupted in applause, some chanting, Take her! Take her! Karen's bravado crumbled as the officers approached. Ma'ams, step off the plane, one said, his tone leaving no room for argument. Karen sputtered, This is outrageous. I'm being targeted. Darlene, now pale, followed silently, clutching her purse like a lifeline. As the sisters were escorted off, Marcus leaned toward Javier. Thanks for handling that, he said quietly. Javier nodded. No one should deal with that nonsense. The cabin settled, the tension dissipating like fog. Passengers offered Marcus sympathetic smiles, and the teenager from earlier gave him a fist bump. You're a legend, man, he said. Marcus just chuckled and reopened his book. At the gate, Karen and Darlene's meltdown continued. Karen, now in handcuffs, shrieked about her rights as officers led her to a holding area. Darlene, sobbing, tried to explain, We just wanted a nice flight. The police weren't impressed. A quick check revealed Karen had a history of public disturbances, HOA meetings turned shouting matches, complaints against undesirable neighbors. The charges piled up, disorderly conduct, hate speech, and disrupting a flight. Darlene, complicit but less vocal, faced similar charges. Back on the plane, the mood lifted. The captain announced, We're cleared for takeoff. Sorry for the delay, folks. Cheers erupted. Marcus, still in 14B, felt the weight of the moment. He wasn't just a passenger. He was a man who'd stood his ground, not with fists or screams, but with dignity. The woman in the business suit leaned over. You handled that better than I could have, she said. Marcus smiled. Some people just need to learn the hard way. In the weeks that followed, the incident went viral. Clips of Karen's rant, captioned with her own words, spread across X and TikTok. The HOA Karen sisters became a cautionary tale, their mugshots plastered on local news. Their neighborhood, fed up with their tyranny, voted them off the HOA board. Karen's Instagram, once a shrine to her self-proclaimed authority, was deleted after relentless trolling. Darlene moved to a new town, but the stigma followed. Marcus, meanwhile, became a quiet hero. His calm defiance inspired memes, think pieces, and even a hashtag, Seat14B. He didn't seek the attention, but he appreciated the messages from strangers thanking him for standing up to hate. At a community event in Chicago, he spoke briefly, saying, It's not about winning. It's about reminding people we all deserve respect. Karen and Darlene faced court dates, hefty fines, and community service. Their empire of petty complaints and power trips collapsed, leaving them to stew in the consequences of their actions. The world moved on, but the lesson lingered. Entitlement, unchecked, burns itself out. The end.